Good evening, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Willingness Wednesday. I am your coach, BVon Squires, and today we are sponsored by Spirit Source Connection. Hello, I am so glad you're here. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see everyone. If you are new, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are so welcome to be here. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope that you hear something tonight that's going to ignite you in a fiery kind of way, that's going to make you want to come back next week and spend this time with us again next week here on Willingness Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. every Wednesday night. Okay, and if you are returning, I want to say thank you so much. You know, I could not do this without you, and I thank you for allowing me to be your coach. Thank you for your love and support. Okay, so over the last few weeks, we've been talking about emotional intelligence. And just as I promised, I said I'd give you some tips for boosting your emotional intelligence, building it so that you can feel confident in your ability to manage your emotions, right? Okay, so before we get started with that, though, I want to give us a brief recap for those that are new so that we're all on the same page. I don't want anyone to miss out on an opportunity to understand what we're talking about and to grasp the concepts that we're going to be discussing this evening, okay? All right, so first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness or metacognition. Ooh, what's that, coach? Okay, let me tell you all about it. Self-awareness is when you have the ability to be aware of your emotions. You are aware of your emotions and how they are affecting you. You're aware of how they're affecting others, and you have the ability to do something about it. Metacognition is when you are able to think about your thinking. Hmm. How is my thought process affecting my relationships? Is this thought process that I have an actual positive thought, or is this some sort of a distortion? When you're able to think about your thoughts and consider how they affect you and others, that's when you have achieved metacognition. Okay, so the next component of emotional intelligence is managing your emotions. Okay, and so what we learn about managing our emotions, we have to understand that our emotions come from our belief system. According to Thibaut Maurice, who is the author of Managing your emotions come from the perception you have of an event, right? And then it is imprinted upon your thought process, which actually creates an emotion. Okay, so that's how your emotions are created. They're created from perception of the event, right? And then you're going to interpret the event. That's where your perception comes in. You're interpreting the event, and then when you identify with that perception, you're actually adding a thought to it. And when you add that thought to your perception, then you're going to have your emotions. Okay, that's what's going to cause you to have emotions. And understanding your emotions and how they affect you is the number one way that you can boost your emotional intelligence. This is going to allow you to have great relationships. This is going to allow you to have conversations with people. It's going to allow you to feel more confident about who you are because you have the ability to be in touch with who you are on a deep level through your self-awareness. Now, of course, this is all done on your private time where you can become proactive, right? We talked about that. Being proactive, looking for solutions, making your decisions based on values and beliefs as opposed to your feelings, right? And so that's another way that you can enhance your emotional intelligence. The next thing we want to talk about is self-motivation. Self-motivation is another component of emotional intelligence, okay? And so what we learned here is self-motivation can happen once I know who I am. I can't motivate myself if I don't know who I am, right? And so knowing who I am happens also in my private time. It happens in the times where I can sit alone, I can get out a piece of paper, I can journal, I can think about what I'm thinking about. I can write down my thoughts. I can, really look at what it is that I'm thinking. And when I know what I'm thinking, then I can trace it back to a belief. And that is what I want you to know most tonight, is that your thoughts are the only place that you can actually enact change. You cannot enact change in the event that you perceived, no, because it's already happened. You cannot enact change in the emotions that you felt because they have already been created. They have already been ingrained in you. So the only thing that you can really change is your thought process. And so that's what I want you to know about this process, about the emotional intelligence and how you can enact change. Okay? Now we're going to move on and we're going to talk about the empathy. Empathy is another component of emotional intelligence. Empathy allows us to communicate with another person through our emotions. It's a wordless language, but somehow you can feel what the other person is saying. Somehow, if you have an open mind, see, open-mindedness is very essential to empathy because I have to be able to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And so being able to walk a mile in someone else's shoes means I have to take my shoes off first, which means all of my preconceived ideas, all of my thoughts that I just thought I knew so much, all of this has to go on the back burner, right? I have to take all of this off so that I can engage with another person, so that I can feel what they're saying, right? Because what we understand is what a person says, the words are only 30% of what they're really saying. The other 70% comes from the body language, comes from the nonverbals, the tone, the facial expressions. This is how the rest of the conversation can be delivered and can be picked up on. Is that 70%, right? That 70%. So critical, because how many times have you seen someone slump down, head down? It's easy to see that that person is not very happy. It's easy to see that that person has something going on within them that has them feeling kind of sad, kind of low. You can see it from their disposition, right? A lot of times when people communicate with us, they might not know how to get it out. But if you have emotional intelligence, if you have the ability to apply empathy, then you're going to be able to understand this person and connect with them on a deeper level. Okay. Now, the other thing I want you to know is that having an open mind, I just said that having an open mind is very critical to this process. So now we're going to jump on in and talk about these actionable steps that you can take to help build your emotional intelligence. Okay? This is the fun part. I was so excited about this. I couldn't wait to get here and tell you about all of these new things that you can implement into your life. And I want you to implement them, and then I want you to come back and let us know how it worked. Please email me or call me or text me and let me know if you have implemented any of these steps into your regimen for emotional intelligence. Okay? All right. Here's the first one. The first one is mindfulness meditation. Now, this is probably out of all of the steps that I have for you tonight, mindfulness meditation. If you only pick up one of them, make it the mindfulness meditation. What mindfulness meditation does is it helps you to reduce your anxiety. It helps you to reduce depression. It also helps you to reduce stress, while at the same time, it improves your self-awareness. It improves your awareness of your emotions. And it also helps you to perform under pressure, which all of these help to boost your emotional intelligence. Okay? Now, the second one I have for you is writing down that emotion. What we know about emotions is that they can be so charged, right? Whether that emotion is anger, fear, jealousy, rage, grief, no matter what that emotion is, if it is a charged emotion, it has the ability to activate the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is not a nice place to be. Now, it feels nice there because you're kind of sugar-coated over everything. It's not reality. The amygdala is operating from the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind has nothing in it that is new. The only thing in your subconscious mind is everything that you have picked up over the past, right? So when you are in the amygdala, when the amygdala has control over your thought processes, over your mind, you are in your subconscious and you can't even move forward from that place. It's like a loop. It's like a loop, and you are stuck there until somehow the neocortex is able to free you from the amygdala. And what I mean by that is one of the things that you can do, right, is we were talking about writing it down. So when you write down the emotion, then you want to ask yourself, what thought is attached to that emotion? I know that's not easy because a lot of times the thought part of the equation gets lost. You remember the event, you remember the emotion, but you forgot about the thought that caused it all. Sometimes that's the part that is just that just eludes us, the thought that connects it all. See, when you know the thought that connects the entire equation, you can change the equation itself, right? As I mentioned earlier, you can't do anything about the event and you can't do anything about the emotions, but you can enact change on your thought. So writing down that thought is going to, number one, remove all that power from that emotion, right? It's going to remove all the power from that emotion. And once that it diffuses that emotion, then you are freed from the amygdala. Because once you name that emotion, the neocortex or the prefrontal cortex, if you will, gets involved. And you can't think from both parts of your brain at the same time. So obviously, you want to be in your prefrontal cortex so that you can be in the moment, so that you can move forward and enact change, right? Awesome. All right. So the next thing we want you to do is cognitive behavior therapy. Now, cognitive behavior therapy is a deeper level of thinking about your thoughts, right? I'm going to try to explain this to you so that you can understand it. Cognitive behavior theory or therapy actually allows you to have a thought, right? Think about that thought. It allows you to trace that thought all the way back to your belief, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy will allow you to look at your thought and then determine, is that thought correct? Or is that thought distorted, right? We don't want distorted thinking because distorted thinking leads to negatively charged emotions. Negatively charged emotions activates the amygdala, and that is not the equation. That is not the road, if you will, that you want to go down. No. Do not go down that road, okay? So, distortion in your thought process can happen in so many ways. There are over, I don't know how, endless ways that your thoughts can be distorted. Now, here are a couple. When I hear myself globalizing, saying everyone this or no one that, that throws up a red flag because not everyone always nothing, right? So when I hear the words everyone, no one, always, or never, I need to check my thinking. I am going down the wrong path. I am headed for the amygdala. So when I hear those buzzwords, everyone, no one, always, and never, those are 4 trigger words. I'm telling you, when you hear yourself say those words, you better call me. You need to get me on the phone quick. You can reach me by dialing 317-721-4315.
or you can email me because I'll answer just as quick on the email for you, okay? You can email me at b.vonsquires@gmail.com, okay? So let's get on back into this. When you hear those words, you want to definitely call me or get a notepad out so you can start trying to figure out where your thoughts are trying to take you. You don't want to go down to the amygdala. You just don't want to go there, okay? All right, so the other thing I want you to do is, here we go. Now, I want you to understand this because it's so important. If you don't get anything else, I want you to get this, okay? We already talked about the globalizing. We already talked about, making a mountain out of a molehill. This also goes back to my belief system. I somehow believe that things aren't supposed to be difficult. I somehow think that things are supposed to go my way. Well, that is a distorted way of thinking. That is not a healthy belief system, right? And that is also going to lead me to some negatively charged emotions, which is going to activate the amygdala. Again, you don't want to go down that path. The other way is entitlements, okay? Some people think they're supposed to have everything their way. They're supposed to have it when they want it, why they want it, whatever. That is not reality. That is how I used to think, as a matter of fact, and that is just not reality. That thought process took me down some pretty dark roads. That process had me bound by the amygdala more often than I can imagine, or more often than I can remember. But thank God for a new thought process. Thank God for growing up, and being in reality. Reality is I'm not entitled to anybody's anything. Anything anybody does for me is a blessing. I'm not entitled to anything. I don't have to be oversensitive today. I do not have to make mountains out of molehills, and I do not have to globalize. When I'm doing all of those, I know that my thought process is heading in the wrong direction, okay? All right. And so the other thing I want you to remember is that the event that happens leads to the thought, right? The thought leads to the emotion. Okay, so the thought is the most critical part of that equation, as I was saying earlier. Okay, now there's another way that you can boost your emotional intelligence. You can change your physiology. And what that means is, let's say, for instance, you're having a negative thought, you catch yourself globalizing, or you catch yourself going down the wrong path, headed for that amygdala. I tell you what, if you got a mood that you want to shake it off, you can get up and you can just actually shake. Just shake it off, or, you brush your haters off while you're at it. And the other thing that you can do, stand up tall, put your hands on your hips, raise your head, and stand proud, stand tall. This is going to give you a sense of pride. Yeah, it's going to give you a sense that everything is okay, that you are okay. It's your posture, see? Your posture, standing up straight, sitting up straight, has the ability to give you greater ideas, to give you more positive thought processes. Whereas the same ways, if you have your head down and you have your shoulders slouched, it's going to give you negative thought processes, your physiology, because there is a mind-body connection, right? And so part of that mind-body connection is like you behave your way into a new way of feeling. You behave your way into a new mood. You behave your way into a new thought process, right? Into more positive thought processes. You can raise your vibrations by standing tall, by remembering who you are, my goodness. You know what I'm saying? And so I want you to know that that is another way that you can boost your emotional intelligence is through your physiology. The next thing I want you to know is that you can boost your emotional intelligence through your breathing. Who knew? Who knew that breathing could affect you so much? Number one, breathing affects your physiology. Your physiology affects your mood. So there you go. There's the connection, right? So when you breathe, it's not just normal breathing. This is therapeutic breathing, okay?
Now, of course, this isn't something that you're going to learn in school, and you're definitely not going to learn this around the dinner table. You have to come here so that I can help explain these things to you so that you know, okay? The breathing that we're talking about tonight is therapeutic breathing. And what I mean by that is you inhale for 4 counts. Inhale for 4 counts. 2, 3, 4. Then you hold for 4 counts. 2, 3, 4. And then you exhale for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you do this about 10 times. Research says if you do this about 10 times, it has the ability to snag you away from that amygdala and put you right into your prefrontal cortex where you need to be, right? If you just breathe and do this therapeutic breathing anytime you feel like your mood is not what you would like it for it to be, if you have the emotional intelligence and the self-awareness, you're going to be able to know that the mood you have is not one that's going to be conducive to the kind of person or the kind of day you want to have, so whenever you find yourself in those types of situations, go ahead and do some therapeutic breathing. And I tell you what, it's going to clear all away, all of that amygdala, and it's going to bring you right back into the current, in the moment. See, you want to be in the moment. That's where you want to live, is in the moment. You don't want to be in your subconscious mind. You want to be in the moment, right? So you can enact change so that you can move forward. If you are caught in your amygdala, you're not going to be able to move forward. And I just can't stress that enough, okay? All right, so we want you to also architect some small wins for yourself. And what I mean by that is I want you to get a pad of paper and I want you to jot down no more than 3 or 4 things now. We're not going to be overachievers here. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure. 1 or 2, 3 or 4. Write those things down, okay? I don't care how long it takes. It doesn't matter whether it takes 5 minutes or 1 hour. You're going to take that first task, you're going to complete it, then you're going to come back and you're going to cross it off your list. Oh my gosh, how good is that going to feel to know that you're actually accomplishing things? And look, you only have 4 more things left to accomplish. You can do that, right? And so that gives you the momentum that you need. It gives you the energy that you need to move into that next item that you want to cross off your list, right? So there you go. There's another way that you can boost your emotional intelligence. Okay, so now we're getting to the part where goodwill comes in. Goodwill means doing something for someone else without expecting something in return, right? When you have the ability to do something for someone else in a spirit of goodwill, it's going to make you feel wonderful. It's an esteemable act. And so, of course, it's going to boost your self-esteem. Not only is it going to boost your self-esteem, it's going to make you feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that you made someone else's day. And according to research, it is going to lower your mortality rate by 33%. Who knew? Who knew that helping someone, through the spirit of goodwill would actually be good for your life? Reducing your mortality rate by 33%. Wow, that was a really huge one. I was happy to see that because I'm always doing something for someone and I love doing it because it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so wonderful. I'm so blessed. And I just thank God for the ability to help others. After He's blessed me, why couldn't I just bless someone else, right? All right, guys. The last thing I want to tell you is about the attitude of gratitude. Woo-wee! I tell you what, that gratitude has the ability to turn your lack into more than enough. It has the ability to turn your down days into sunshiny days. I tell you what, if you will take the opportunity to start thinking about things that you're grateful for, watch and see what it does for your energy. Watch and see what it does for your mood. Oh my goodness, gratitude. I tell you what, gratitude is one of my go-to principles. It is one of my go-tos. When I feel myself not feeling like myself, I am first to
say, oh my God, I am so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful for my thinking. I'm so grateful for my hands. I'm grateful for my eyes. I'm so grateful for the roof over my head. I'm so grateful for my connection with God. I'm just so grateful for the angels. I'm so grateful for, a healthy lifestyle. So many things that I can be grateful for. And so what I like to do is I like to go from A to Z and talk about the things that I'm grateful for. A, awareness. I'm grateful for awareness, right? B, I'm grateful for bravery, and C, I'm grateful for courage. There's just so many things that I'm grateful for, and it feels good to be able to share that gratitude with others. When I walk out of my house and I'm grateful, good things happen. Positivity follows me when I am in a grateful state of mind. All right, guys, I hope that I said something tonight that's going to help you understand how important emotional intelligence is. Not only understand how important it is, but that you too can be emotionally intelligent. You are a highly effective individual. And so, of course, you can apply all of these actionable steps to your life so that you can be more emotionally intelligent, have better relationships with yourself, with others, with your family, with your work situation. It's all about relationships. And the number one relationship is with yourself. And of course, the next one is with your higher power or your spirit source, whatever that source may be. All right, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for showing up today. I will look forward to seeing you again next week. But in the meantime, I'm going to pray and I'm going to ask God to bless you real good. And I just know that if you follow these tips that I gave you tonight, you are going to be well on your way to being emotionally intelligent. And I know that if you are manifesting, all of those good things that you are manifesting are on their way to you now. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you again so much for being here. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your coach. Have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, beautiful Willingness Wednesday. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.